Okay, champions. Today we'll be talking about Bitcoin dominance and when do I think the out season will happen. Okay, so this is the post that I made about 1 week ago where I stated that Bitcoin is going to the 75.5k price target. Okay, so that was my prediction, and what happened is that price actually sort of followed this green line as you see here, and now it is around this level now, around 67, 68k. Okay, and I stated that price would come down and test the pink line, okay, which is a 200-day SMA. And this 200-day SMA is very important when it comes to out season, okay, and I'll talk about this very soon. So I'll move on to the price chart of Ethereum Bitcoin. So this is like sort of the Bitcoin dominance chart, okay. Yeah, so anyways, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please like and subscribe. And what we do is that we have very accurate Bitcoin altcoin price targets here, okay. So let's just start this video. Currently what we have here is that Bitcoin, the Ethereum Bitcoin chart has went on the very long downtrend. Okay, and that's happening since 2022. Okay, so that's a very long time, and I think there's a lot of Twitter influencers, right? They're saying that out season cannot happen until the Bitcoin dominance flips. Okay, so what do they mean by flipping? And basically, what happens is that you have something similar to 2020 and 2021. Okay, and that was when the Ethereum Bitcoin went above its 200-day SMA. And that is a very simple rule, okay? So you notice that when that was around January 20, okay, when price finally went up above the 200-day SMA, and now it has sort of tested it above it, they went up again and tested again and went up. Okay, so notice that ever since January 23, we have not really tested above the 200-day SMA. Okay, and as a result, you have very big accounts in Twitter. They are saying that out season will not happen until this until the Ethereum Bitcoin dominance flips. Okay, so right now we're just seeing a very strong downtrend. Okay, continuously going downwards. I don't think this will continue forever. Okay, so at some point it's going to reverse, and what we see is that eventually, I'm not exactly sure where you'll land, but I do believe that it's very close to the bottom. Okay, so once it goes down and it goes back up, and you'll notice that the price will eventually go above 200-day SMA. Okay, and that will be the first signal that the out season will happen. So right now we don't really have the signal yet. Okay, but we are seeing signs that price is trying to bottom out. Okay, so eventually, it will go back up to the SMA, right? The 200-day SMA. It just needs to take some time, okay? It doesn't just happen like immediately, right? So this is the first thing that we need to look out for, is that you put a 200-day SMA on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, and then you watch if price goes back up and test it again. Okay, so you notice that actually price tested a few times, It tested once around January 24, okay, then twice March, okay, and then it tested again in around May, and now it's just going back down again. But eventually it's going to do something like this, right? So you can imagine, maybe if I can pull a very similar example, okay, you can see something like this, quite similar to what we have today. Okay, so this region right here, notice over here, okay, it looks very similar to what we saw around 2019 during the bear market, right? That was a previous cycle. Okay, so you notice something like this, very similar, right? So price eventually went all the way down, around this level, 0.09. There's an Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. Okay, so notice that price also went down again to a very low level. That is quite far away from the 200-day SMA. Okay, so you notice it's very similar, right? The distance that you see from the 200-day SMA to the bottom is very similar in size to what we have today. Okay, and yeah, it's very similar in size. So eventually, it's not going to go down forever, obviously, right? The out season will eventually happen at some point. Okay, maybe it starts to go sideways a bit, right? Maybe something like this, and then you will finally go back up above the 200 SMA. So this is something that I'm watching right now. Okay, the first signal that I would look at before I would conclude that Altseason is coming is that you will see price sort of dance around here, this level, before going back up to 200 SMA. Okay, and that's the first signal. So that's a very nice thing to look out for. Okay, so do watch out for the 200 SMA in the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. Okay, so that's the first thing you have to look out for. And the second thing is that if you look at the chart of Bitcoin right now, okay, so notice that I have my 75.5k price target on the chart. So what I'm seeing is that eventually, we're going to see price test the 200 SMA. Okay, and that's a second signal you've looked out for, right? So the first signal was the Ethereum Bitcoin chart goes above the 200 SMA. Okay, so that's the first signal. The second signal is you want to look at Bitcoin itself. Okay, and Bitcoin has to go above, and it is currently above 200 SMA. So you notice a pink line right here. Okay, so the pink line is actually the 200-day SMA, and notice that price is above it. But I'm expecting it to touch it at some point. Okay, it does not need to touch today. Price could basically it could just drag the whole thing out, right? So maybe we can wait until maybe November. Okay, until the test happens. We can't be sure exactly when it will happen. Maybe it will test something like this, maybe like this, then it goes back down again. Okay, that's possible. Another possible thing that could happen, and I did talk about this before, is that price would just continue touching, going below the 200-day SMA. Okay, so it goes down a little bit, then it goes back up again. It goes down, then it goes back up again. And this is something that is very similar to what happened to the S&P. So you notice in the S&P, when it began to start the 2023 bull market, okay, you saw something very similar here. Okay, it's somewhere around here, when price sort of it went above the 200-day SMA, this pink line. Okay, it went up, then it goes down again. Okay, then it goes even lower, but not very low, right? Then eventually it just went back up. So this is something that I think could happen to Bitcoin. Okay, so we might see something like this, right? You just go up, down a little bit before it goes back up again and continues the test. Okay, so the second signal now is that we need to look out for is Bitcoin tests above the 200 SMA. Okay, so if it does successfully test above it, then we can actually have the green light for the Altseason. Okay, so a Bitcoin has to touch and test above the 200 SMA. So that's the second signal that you look out for. Okay, so first signal, okay, the Ethereum Bitcoin chart price goes above 200 SMA. Okay, that's the first signal. Second signal, Bitcoin tests above 200 SMA. Okay, so it's two very simple rules that you can look out for, so that you will know when the Altseason happens and you can actually position yourself, for the profits to come. Okay, so I'll see you next time in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe and like this video if you haven't subscribed yet. Okay, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.